Good morning. Today is Wednesday, February 3rd, 2021, and welcome to the very first episode of JLJ This Morning. Woohoo! I am your panel moderator, Casey Hutchison, and we have so much to discuss today, from politics to entertainment news, and maybe something a little lighter throughout the show. But before we get started, I think it's time we meet these fabulous co-hosts that are joining me on the panel. And let's see if we can get a little out of them and learn a little bit about them. So, Miss Veronica Dang, tell our viewers all about you.
Hi, I'm Veronica. I'm an actress, comedian, filmmaker, born in Pennsylvania, even though people don't think I look like I was born here. But I was born in like the redneck part, not the fun cheesesteak part.
I love a good cheesesteak, with like the peppers and the onions and, a little bit of hot sauce on mine. Oh, my mouth's watering.
Alessandro's, not North Philly.
Nope. And then Miss Emmy Morgan up there looking faboosh. How are you today?
I just, threw something on and a little stitch of makeup.
Should have been a couple more
Set up, Joe. Laughing at me. I know he is. Anyway, I'm from Western Mass, and I am an author, podcaster, and writer. I love pop culture and I love movies like crazy. And also I love this little guy right here. Isn't he adorable? He's one of my really good friends, and I've known him since 6th grade. So yeah, that's it. That's all about me. And I have a huge family on both sides of my parents' lineage.
Oh, very nice. And then Mr. Joseph Willis himself, tell us a little bit about you. What brings you on the panel?
Well, let's harken back to our Agawam roots. I appreciate Emmy's shout out to Agawam Middle School. I'm a human resource representative. I'm a dad. I'm a husband, and I have an opinion about just about everything, and that includes every movie. I feel like the competition of who will have the best movie quotes, in line with their conversations throughout our show would be it's going to be a heated contest, but I think we're all going to throw down.
Interesting.
There's nothing to do in Agawam, so we had to watch movies.
So yeah, I am very opinionated as well. Look, I'm a gay man who was raised around Italian women his whole life. I'm a writer, much like Emmy. I'm a podcaster. I have done many things for JLJ Media, which is the awesome network we're on, with the founder of that network, James Lott Jr., who has really shepherded a lot of creative talent. And so, yeah, I mean, I personally, when it comes to this show, I always wanted to do a show like this. And I think with the world we live in now, as complex as it is, as social media driven as it is, I think now is the perfect time to have this amazing panel assembled together to go forward and bring you the news that everybody is talking about. We'll discuss some things that will make you laugh, some things that might make you cry. But hey, it's all in the morning. And with us, we hope that you just want to wake up, watch us, and have a great day. So yeah, we'll see what happens. We don't know, but this is the first episode. Like I mentioned, we have so much to discuss, so let's just get right into it. First, it's coming. The second impeachment trial of Donald Trump is underway, of former President Donald Trump. And he has assembled a new legal team days after his other legal team decided to depart. Now, the reason given for that, allegedly, is that Donald Trump wanted this previous legal team to focus on the claims of election fraud that he's putting out there with Joseph Biden coming into the White House and everything. And his legal team allegedly didn't see eye to eye with him on that, because they figure if they focus on that whole election fraud thing, then how is that going to get back to the real reason of, you're going in front of the United States and you're going to be impeached? So what does these election fraud defense have anything to do with it? I mean, to me, it sounds like a mess. But Veronica, what about you? What do you think of this whole upcoming Trump impeachment and then the legal team swap at the last minute?
Well, it's crazy because the thing is, if they had done the impeachment right the first time, we wouldn't be in this situation. The problem is, I was bullied my whole life. So I know, if you don't stand up to bullies right away, it just drags out. They get more crazy and more violent, and they're going to just keep pushing the envelope because they get away with it, right? And here we are. But it's like a whole country being held hostage or whatever, being traumatized, versus just me by myself being the only Asian kid in school. So, but now we're here. And for the second impeachment, I'm sorry, because the first one, whatever, I don't understand what happened, how that didn't go through. But the second one, they impeached him before the election ended. But then they're like, no, it's, you don't want to mess with Biden's and whatever, and you can't impeach him, when there's only a few weeks left. So then they're like, okay, we agreed to do it afterwards. And now they're trying to say that the impeachment's not constitutional because they're doing it to him after, even though it was their idea to push it after he left office. So it's they didn't even have a strong argument to begin with. Even with all that, Trump's is going against the legal team that was semi-competent, but not really great, because they lost pretty much all those court cases. It wasn't up to 70 or something that they lost in the state courts for the election fraud. And so he's so focused on the election fraud because he's a bully and a narcissist, he cannot believe that he lost. So it doesn't matter anything else, and he just wants to be president again. So he can't get anybody to defend him because he wants to be president, and you just can't. You lost the election. It's done. So it's everything's so crazy. I feel like we're in backwards world where these people can't accept losing. White male privilege.
Well, and we saw Trump struggle to find somebody to take his case because, again, he wants to build his defense around election fraud. But at the same time, you have, with mounting allegations against you of, inciting the insurrection and everything, that's the best defense you can come up with for yourself. Even if I was to play, devil's advocate here, I'm still that's the only thing you can come up with, is because you lost, you are so hell-bent that you're not even going to really look at what's ahead of you. You're not going to really look at the case that's presenting itself.
And the funny thing is, the second impeachment is all based on his not admitting that the election was
exactly.
And that's why he's in this in the first place. And he's still harping on it. They're like, let's not talk about it. We're trying to say that you're not responsible, even though all the women and all the people that stormed the Capitol oh yeah, Trump's at me.
But that's the thing. He's always been the type of guy that deflects. Anytime that a topic comes up, he would deflect to something else. Meanwhile, he's doing this behind our backs. So I fully understand why he's doing what he's doing, because he's always done it.
And I think, that's very important that you say that, Emmy. Every time, whether it's deflecting to make fun of a disabled reporter, or whether it's deflecting, to talk about grabbing women by their genitalia, or whether it's deflecting to, say, lock her up about Hillary Clinton. I mean, it's always deflection with this man. But I think we're seeing the deflecting mode kind of wear off, hopefully.
He's also scared too, because once he becomes a private citizen, there's 26 women that are going to more than likely bring rape and assault charges on him. The state of New York, allegedly, sorry, the state of New York is going to be suing him. Some of his business allegedly were not very great. And once again, allegedly, and I'm not sure if they will, but he left a huge debt with Puerto Rico. And I don't know if they're ever going to sue him for that as well. But yeah, he's afraid to be a private citizen again.
Yeah, that's why he's trying to get the Senate to overturn the whole election so they can be president again, because he's can't deal with all these lawsuits.
His organization is hemorrhaging money. He is a pariah in most circles. And at the end of the day, he's got mounting legal cases that are going to make it nearly impossible for him to just wander off into the sunset. So whatever legal team he manages to put together, there isn't really going to be much that they can do. But frankly, the impeachment process isn't going to go anywhere anyway. They don't have enough members in the Senate in order for them to actually impeach him. And at the end of the day, this is largely political theater, and we're going to wind up with the same situation that happened after the first impeachment. It's just going to embolden him. This is a PR stunt for him, and it just gives him another opportunity to stay in the public sphere, spouting off a bunch of nonsense that his fans and sycophants will eat up. And that's what they'll continue to do until 2022, when he supports the new line of candidates that are running in those elections. And he may stick around until 2024, but at the end of the day, this is just a PR ploy for him. He knows it's not going anywhere. I think most of the people in the Senate understand that as well. And it's just a matter of time before, they waste more taxpayer dollars on trying to get a result that isn't really going to matter anyway. He's gone. He's out. Let's move on.
Thanks for that happy outlook, Joe. I think the reason why they're doing this, and I could be wrong, someone can correct me, it helps build the case for that second trial of not allowing him to run for any other office. But, I'm really annoyed because what's that?
I want to, so are you saying that you think this could build a good case if the Senate should decide to take up a separate vote to, impose the question, hey, should he no longer be allowed to run for any office? Like, you think that this second case against him could possibly lead to the Senate posing another vote?
I think if they do impeach him and they convict him, I can't imagine that they would still let him run. I can't imagine that they wouldn't have that vote to take him out of politics forever.
He holds too much sway with the party.
Shut up, Joe.
It hurts. It sucks.
I mean, he's already been impeached twice. It's just trying to get this conviction. So
we know he's been impeached. They don't know he's been impeached. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, they think, oh, well, he never was removed from office. And I don't know, maybe it's the petty white in me. I need for him to be like completely canceled. And that's what I was about to say. I'm really annoyed because I believe in cancel culture for the right people. Not for everybody. Joe interrupting me isn't going to get him canceled. But
not yet.
Yeah, not yet. It's only day one. It's only the first morning.
No, me too. But this man is the only person that I've seen so far in history that's been canceled by everybody collectively. Kevin Spacey will probably make another film here and there. Other celebrities probably make them, but this man is canceled. Like, he got canceled from freaking Pinterest. I don't even know how you get canceled from Pinterest. And it's like, everybody is canceling this man, and it just kind of annoys me because these are the same people that said cancel culture was bad, and now they're canceling him.
So it's interesting that you brought up his previous 5 minutes of fame increments, whether it was, a special guest stint in Home Alone 2, or whether it was, hosting The Apprentice for as long as he did, or what have you. That's really interesting because you think of, for example, Felicity Huffman, from the college admission scandal, and people saying she would never work again. Well, she admitted to what she did. She served her time, and now she has a sitcom coming up. It hasn't been picked up yet, I don't believe, but it's Corona. Who's shooting a TV show right now? You know what I mean? So, my thing is, when you admit that you've done wrong, when you hold your own feet to the fire, it's a lot different for your future outlook, depending on what you did. It's kind of that whole expression, in my opinion, where people say, make fun of yourself before others just do it for you. And so I don't think that Donald Trump, in my opinion, even knows what the word remorseful means. He's not like a Felicity Huffman, or anybody else who shows remorse. He's just going to keep on going, like Joe said. He
doesn't have to. He doesn't have to. He hasn't. I mean, he was on Lifestyle of the Rich and Famous in the 80s. He's had these ups and downs. The books that he's written, every single thing that he's done is self-promotion. He is a shameless self-promoter. He has been this person throughout my entire life. And we're talking, I'm not even going to say it, but it's been a long couple of decades. But at the end of the day, he's a shameless self-promoter, and he knows how to keep his name out there and keep it in the public sphere. And he's been able to do that. He can manage to file bankruptcy after bankruptcy, ruin, hundreds, if not thousands of people's lives with his businesses going belly up, and these scams with his charities and his universities and stupid steak knives. And, at the end of the day, he's come out unscathed. You're not talking about somebody who's kryptonite to, aside from American lending.
No, not at all.
He's still able to, to find a way to get funded, to continue to be in the public sphere, and to continue to just linger.
Yeah, moving on.
Yes.
To another very serious set of allegations, this time made by now former Seahawks football player Chad Wheeler. I just want to read this so we can get the gist. Coming straight from the New York Times, Wheeler was released by the Seahawks on Wednesday, soon after prosecutors formally charged him and arrested him to charge him with first-degree domestic violence assault, a felony, domestic violence, unlawful imprisonment, a felony, and resisting arrest, a misdemeanor. Now, of course, this is all stemming, if we back up here and look at the context, this is all stemming from an alleged outburst that Wheeler had in his home with his girlfriend. Wheeler, of course, has struggled with bipolar. He was allegedly off his meds at this point. He did assault his girlfriend pretty badly, did a few things to her face. She even tried locking herself in the bathroom at one point, and calling everybody she could think of. Again, this is all allegedly as the case plays out. I'm not even quite sure what to make of this whole thing, because it's such an insane story. But Emmy, let's go to you. What do you think of the whole Chad Wheeler situation and what he's been charged with?
You guys jump in if you want. I think this is bigger than Chad Wheeler. The NFL has a history of athletes beating their wives and being canceled and then coming back and dogfighting, and there's just I don't know what's going on with that sport, but I just feel like there's so much domestic violence in those players. I don't get it. Are they getting like steroid shots? Like, what's going on with them? Like, why is it always every year some guy is beating the crap out of his girlfriend, and the pictures are horrific. The pictures of that girl's face. I know people who have been domestically abused, and that was pretty accurate and brutal. It was disgusting. It's
And
disgusting.
of course, we're not going to show the photos.
No, please don't.
But you know, the evidence is out there for these allegations. If any of our viewers are interested to investigate the case further on their own, then they're welcome to do that. But you know, my thing is, when I first read this story, and you know, when I watched another show, you know, referred to his bipolar and everything, I found that interesting. And I found that interesting because my sister Carly was diagnosed with bipolar disorder at about age 11. And so she had struggled with it for a very long time. She did get to a point in high school where she, you know, went off her meds, and she's been doing great ever since. She has a child. She's pregnant. Again, with her second child, she lives on her own. She has a full-time job. And I know that bipolar impacts everybody differently. And I'm not saying we shouldn't look at the bipolar factor, because bipolar can make a person violent. However, and I don't know if any of you feel the same way, I just don't want that to be used as the stigmatized cause of what he did in the news, because I think it paints a bad picture for people who do actually try and find almost like a happy medium with their bipolar disorder, because it's one of the hardest things ever to cope with. So, Veronica, what do you think of this?
Well, I didn't know the story until you told me about it, so I had to look it up. And basically, it's just definitely like what Emmy says. I mean, football has a criminal problem. They're known for like domestic violence and like shootings, and you know what I mean? And it's like the only time they ever get penalized is if it makes into the press and looks bad for them. Otherwise, they don't care. But you're giving these young men who don't have anything, I guess, other options but sports, and giving them a lot of money and a lot of like fame, and they just think they can do whatever they want to other people with no repercussions. And it's just horrible that these women have to get into these situations, you know, and they have no support. I mean, she almost died, and she woke up and he was like, "Oh, you're still alive?" I know he apologized, but like, I just hate like when someone tries to kill somebody or there's a school shooting, they're like, "Oh, mental illness." Like, there are plenty of people who have mental illness that don't kill people. That's like, this is not, yeah, I just
and
hate the stigma of the mental health and like being
you're so right, Veronica. You're so right. Because yes, it should be looked at. Definitely. You have to look at, okay, this thing is impacting this person's brain. But it can't once again be the fallout defense for a 6'7" man who's 310 pounds, who, and I know what the photos are, but who allegedly beat on and get ready for this. This was so horrifying and shocking. A 5'9", 145-pound woman. I can't with that. It makes me sick to my stomach. Go ahead, Emmy.
And I mean, Joe, you're gonna have to help me out here. Aren't cisgender heterosexual men taught, do not hit women? That is wrong. That is the lowest scum of the earth.
I'm gonna go one step further. Don't hit anyone.
True.
I think,
unless you're defending yourself, right?
Yeah, unless you're defending yourself. Now, I'm going to say that there's this weird intersectionality in the NFL where, you know, there have been some very high profile, both, violent acts that have happened, and the potential causes and try, they attempts to explain them away. Whether it was Aaron Hernandez and CTE, or I'm not sure what they tried to use for Ray Lewis, being an accomplice in a murder, you watch the situation where Ray Rice absolutely mauled somebody on camera and dragged her out of an elevator by her hair. The violence in the sport itself oftentimes spills over into their personal life. And for most of these people, whether they're living a caricature of themselves or they have very poor impulse control, at the end of the day, it comes back to the same thing. The NFL does not hold people accountable for these things. And if they're talented enough, if they're skilled enough at their position, it doesn't really matter. The league will accept them back. Some team will accept them back, because for that team, it's about having a championship caliber team, and that comes from finding the best talent, and you don't really care about those other things. A lot of teams have taken great strides in trying to provide mentorship. One of my very good friends, and Emmy, Phil, has had his own ins and outs with the NFL, and as a coach, as a player, you see that there are attempts to try to mentor people and prepare them for what professional sports life is like. But a lot of times this stuff is carried over from prior to their time in the NFL, and at the end of the day, they get there and they're making all this money, like we've been saying, and the impulse control just isn't there. And they make these poor decisions, and they think an apology is going to be okay because their agent's telling them apology is all they're going to need, and the league's telling them that's all they're going to need. And he'll probably be back playing with another team, because 6'7", 310-pound linemen are, with some skill, are not easy to come by. And that's the sad reality of it. So while this poor woman was allegedly, beaten half to death and almost killed, strangled to death, is it going to mean that he's going to be out of a job? Probably not. And that's the sad reality of it. The NFL has made a history of doing these things and allowing these things to happen. And I don't have a good reason for why they do that, aside from the billions and billions and billions of dollars that they make as a league.
And two things I have to say. One, not every football player is like this. My ex-boyfriend, Julian Edelman, isn't like that. My other ex-boyfriend, his friend, Danny Amendola, isn't like that either. So not all of the, shut up. Look at Joe's face. He's totally laughing at me. I can't stand him.
Allegedly.
My alleged ex-boyfriends? Yeah. My ex-boyfriend's up here, actually. And another thing I wanted to say, I feel like athletes get a pass. Like, if you look at different celebrities and they mess up this way, they're basically canceled. But athletes, people give them a pass so much. Every single time they get a pass. I'm not sure. I think maybe it's to your point that if they play well, okay, whatever. The one person that never has gotten a pass is Colin Kaepernick. He's never had a past of violence. He's never had a past of being in bar fights and all this stuff. He's sitting here collecting dust on his skills, yet these guys beating women left and right, they're getting into the NFL, getting booted out and coming back. And this poor guy is just like sitting here like, put me in, coach. I just don't get it.
That's a whole nother topic altogether.
Well,
Yeah. Especially, I wonder what's different about Colin versus Chad.
Almost like
So can we get Veronica her own black card, or does she need to do an application? She's definitely
Ally.
You're invited to the cookouts, girl.
He's like Twitter at Veronica Dang. So anyway, Chad has released a statement on Twitter, which I found with these mounting allegations profoundly disgusting.
Mm-hmm.
But here's what he had to say. I apologize profusely for the turmoil that I have caused to my family, teammates, fans, and those closest to me. The most important thing right now is that Aaliyah gets the care she needs and I get help. Both are happening. He then went on to say, replying to that main tweet, it is time for me to walk away from football and get the help I need to never again pose a threat to another. I cannot express my sorrow or remorse enough. I am truly ashamed. I think the biggest takeaway from that, in my opinion, is he acted as though the allegations were that he and Aaliyah did a cooking show and he burnt the pie that they were making. I mean, he acted like the allegations against him were so simple and like nothing at all. And then I wonder to myself, I kind of had to say to myself, well, isn't that how the NFL is acting? Every time these allegations come up, like it's nothing, he's just saying, oh, I hope Aaliyah gets help. I will too. See you next time, folks. I mean, it's very gross to me what he said in his statement. Veronica, what did you think of the statement?
Yeah, same. I just thought, like it was an apology, but it didn't feel genuine. And I mean, he needs to be charged with attempted murder.
Joe, what are your thoughts on the 150 characters or less comments that he decided to make?
I mean, it was awfully disingenuous. We're a week out from the Super Bowl, the biggest sporting event in this country. If he hopes to have a job next year or anytime in the future, I mean, he's a young guy. If he hopes to have a job, then he's got to come out with some kind of public apology and they at least put up this superficial attempt to make it look like he's doing what he needs to do to remedy the situation and make things right. But at the end of the day, he's got several months before the next season starts up. I wouldn't be surprised if just because he doesn't come back with the Seahawks that he's signed for another team that needs that 6'7", 310-pound dude blocking for whoever their star quarterback is. I mean, it's the same thing that we see year in and year out when we hear about these allegations. The same reason why Mike Vick could come out of prison after dogfighting and still find a home in the NFL, whether his skills have diminished or not. He was still able to find, I could find no profession where you'd be able to walk out of prison after being out of your known profession for several years and just immediately pick up where you left off with, a significant contract and endorsements, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So, I applaud him if it's genuine. I applaud him if he's really going out to get the help, and I really hope he does make things right. But at the end of the day, I think we've seen far too many times that this has happened, and he'll be playing again next year, and then we'll probably hear another crazy story about good old Chad.
I also wonder, how he said, oh, I'm going to take time off to work on myself. I'm like, was that before or after the Seahawks let him go?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then also, why is the NFL not banning him?
I kind of want to go back to Emmy's Colin Kaepernick point. Why does this man get to spin his own narrative? But for Colin, right away, no matter whether you disagree with him or not, no matter if it was going on a morning talk show, no matter if it was tweeting, it was immediately this. It was, get out, we don't want you. But whether people disagree with Chad or not, why does he get to make this speech? But if you disagree with Colin or not, he gets nothing. But if it's Chad, it's like, oh, sure. Go ahead. Tell me what you did in 150 characters. And let me tell you, there are people, and I read through those tweets, there are people who are saying, oh, I know you're sorry. Go get the help you need.
Mm-hmm.
And if you look at the tweets, those supportive tweets, it seems like they're outweighing the tweets that really look at this situation. And, There was one gentleman who agreed with me and Veronica that we need to stop using mental health as the ultimate defense, because it does more bad than good for people who can actually get it in check, and for people who do get help, and for people who do take their medications. I'm like so shocked by all of this.
I'm not.
How many white NFL team owners are there?
All?
I think that is the $1 million question. I think
Except
that
I think JLO and Pitbull co-own a team or something.
I don't think they co-own a team in the NFL.
Where is it?
I honestly, I don't know. I didn't know that they owned. But I mean, you asked about Kaepernick and kind of the difference in that situation. There's a difference between calling out the racial power structure in America, whether it plays out in the NFL or just in society in general, and being part of a domestic abuse machine called the NFL. If it's much easier for a lot of these players turned coaches turned owners to associate with somebody who looks like them, has probably acted like them, and that they find current value in, as opposed to somebody who's calling them out for what they would consider their deep dark secret. You don't see people in the NFL saying, yeah, you know what, Colin was right. It took years for the NFL to finally say, all right, this was our bad. We shouldn't have blackballed this guy. This wasn't the right call for how we wanted to portray ourselves. What does it mean now?
When they did, they still didn't hire him back.
I know, that's the thing that makes me mad. They're like, oh, we apologize, Colin, but we still won't give you a job.
How many garbage quarterbacks have been cycled through the league that have had their shot and have played and have had far less talent, far less, worse statistics? How many of those players have been cycled through the league and given an opportunity where he hasn't been able to had his chance to even come back?
Your example of Michael Vick coming out of prison, going right into football again, and Colin's like, put me in, coach.
Well, and here's the thing. I'm just going to admit it right now. Anybody can tell this about me. I don't know a touchdown from a head coach from football. I know. It's the most shocking JLJ this morning admission.
Wow. We just secrets revealed, plot twist.
What I do know, just like we all do on this panel, and I'm not going to say everybody in the world, because clearly you can scroll through those tweets and judge for yourself. But I do know what's right. And there's not only racial inequality here, there's more inequality in our justice system. If I are you telling me that Chad Wheeler doesn't have a manager or an agent or somebody who can call to tell him to put his frickin' phone down and not tweet out a watered down so-called apology?
He probably wrote it.
Yeah, they
say his crisis PR definitely wrote that for him.
I didn't want to get mad, but the situation makes me so angry.
You shouldn't be.
Why? Wendy Williams said it best. Look, anybody who knows me knows I love her. But she took the time when she was talking about this story. She said if this was a black man, he would be up under the jail right now. No tweeting, no Facebooking, no, it's my choice to leave this job. No, nothing. It is so, and like I said, the racial inequality with this and the white privilege with this, it's so out there. It's in the forefront of this whole case.
Yep.
But anyway, between the pictures, between, the prosecutors, what they have before them, we'll see if justice will prevail for Aaliyah in some sort of fashion. So anyway, as we wrap up here, this topic, I don't even know where to begin.
I told you to pick light talks. You picked all super serious ones.
This last topic.
For the first show, we're like, here, let's talk about abuse.
No, but hey, we discuss everything.
Yeah.
We discuss the most important thing on a viewer's mind. But this,
You made me have to care about sports. I had to like look it up. I was like,
well, now
Seahawk. Like,
now
I
we
don't
can
care
talk
about
about
this.
something that is always on everybody's mind, and
Yeah.
that's sex. So anyway, let's just hop right into it, because when one of the co-hosts, and I'm looking at you, Miss Veronica Dang, sent this story, I just found, I'm still scratching my head here. So
Wanu, is that the one?
it had the Cyberpunk 2077.
This has layers.
I can't even with this story. So anyway, this Cyberpunk 2077 apparently had a point where players could put the figures they were given, let's just call it that, the models, whatever you want to call it, they could put them in different scenes, and it became a problem that people were putting an image of Keanu Reeves, that was one of the mods, in explicit sexual
He's hot. Whatever.
So anyway, that has now been taken away from the game, and there was a statement. I know, Emmy, darn, now what
He's
are you
about to start playing?
So anyway, in a statement issued by Eurogamer, so they said that whole thing was available so modders could tweak the game at will and have fun. Now with the character, yeah, I bet they did have fun. And then they went on to say, when it comes to models of real people whom we've asked to participate in the game, we kindly ask you, meaning the players, of course, to refrain from using them in any situation that might be found offensive if you don't have their explicit permission.
True.
Now, of course, that is a very serious thing to tackle. That's something that's been tackled for a long time now, is, you're using this model of a person in an explicit manner without their permission. But I find the whole thing hilarious, because it's like, then why would you give them that option in the first place for them to find a way to do that? Veronica, since you were the one who brought the story to our attention.
I think it's so funny, because it's like, Keanu did a nice thing to, allow his likeness for a video game, which is like an action, typical video game, not expecting his image to be used for explicit scenes in like an action game.
Now, here's the thing. Can't we keep all of those, fantasies of Keanu, right here in our heads, like normal people do?
Not video gamers. They like it all like right in front of them. Realistic as possible.
That's one way to put it, right in front of them.
Literally.
Emmy, what do you think about this?
Fun fact, Keanu Reeves is actually the first male celebrity I've seen naked. He was in, I remember it. Remember when he used to wear that puka necklace with the puka shells, and he was bending over laughing, and he was completely butt naked, covering his twig in 2 bits, with a towel, and that was the first person. And my friend showed it to me. He's like, look at Keanu Reeves, and I'm like, so
I hope
play the game.
I hope nobody ever takes an anatomy lesson from this show.
Right ahead.
Twig in 2 bits, is that what you call
it? Yeah. Hanger. Yeah.
All the teachers are using that lingo then.
Yes. God, I hope
so. Scientific term.
I think that once you give people just a little bit, they take a mile. And of course, someone.
So many directions with that.
Shut up. And I think
why we can't have nice things.
No, you can't. And I think that giving these gamers who that's all they do during quarantine, Keanu Reeves' face, what did you expect? Like, yeah, I'm not surprised. I wasn't surprised by the story at all. You should see what they do on TikTok. So
I'm just happy because Keanu's part Asian, so I'm just happy that
there you go. Veronica's like, yay, we're fantasizing about Asian people.
one of my
Asian men. I was like, yes. So I was
I
excited.
like that guy, and damn, I forget the actor's name. He plays a character in Grey's Anatomy. And,
yeah, he's cute.
so fun.
Alex something.
Oh my god. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Anyway, let's go to Joe.
Yes, Joe. What do you think about Keanu Reeves naked?
Yes, his twig and
I honestly wasn't thinking about his twig and two bits before this whole topic was raised.
You're welcome.
I'm probably not going to think about it after either, but I am going to say that gamers are a crafty bunch.
Mm-hmm.
And whatever entertainment they can glean from a game, they're gonna make the most of it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm happy that that Keanu got his additional 2 minutes of stardom from that, whatever. But well, listen, he's
he's
probably
better than ever. He's like in everything right now.
Yeah,
use your words carefully.
He's John Wick 8. There's always something going on. He's making moves. So to have this happen to him, it couldn't happen to a better guy because he's as chill as they get, and he's just like whatever. But at the end of the day, these video game companies have they have the same problem that a lot of companies are having dealing with technology. People get their hands on it
too. Like, I don't know what they were expecting other people to think, because it's not like it's a realistic image that's been photoshopped onto something. I think people can tell the difference between look, I hope people can tell the difference between something that looks like something straight off of a PlayStation or whatever the kids are into, or versus a real life photo. I mean, come on now.
It's more of the fact that they can do it, I think, more than who they did it with, I guess. I don't know.
No, and I get what you're saying, but then again, I find that whole thing funny. Like, why is the company trying to find a graceful way out of this when the technology they served up to their players gave the players the opportunity to do this in the first place? Like, come on now.
But the thing is, I don't
think that anybody was going to do something inappropriate when you handed it to them on a silver platter.
Not necessarily, because I think players, like Joe, do you remember playing like Super Mario Brothers and stuff, and how we found all those secrets? And hey, it happened. I'm sure the programmers didn't know, but
they knew. You can't.
I don't know if they knew.
Yeah, you can't build in the secret levels and the secret tunnels and all that stuff. Those are part of the game, and that's the point. The point is that there's no way that they put together this game. They had the opportunity to build a program where you just got to change a couple zeros and ones, and you can eliminate the ability to use Keanu Reeves in a sex scene on a video game. They know that that's a capability that the game has, because they built the game with the ability to have sex in it. So
Allegedly.
Allegedly. I mean,
Allegedly.
It's all real.
I just belched as I was saying allegedly. Good morning, everybody.
Allegedly.
It's pretty simple.
Allegedly belched.
Yeah.
So now that they have to unspool it a little bit, it's good. It's good press for them. It's good press for Keanu.
True. It's great press for Keanu.
Yeah, but he doesn't need it, so.
Yeah.
Oh, he does not need it at all.
He's like timeless and all or like everywhere.
Yeah, but I don't even think this phases him. He's just like, what? Okay, whatever.
Like he's in another plane.
Yeah.
He's like, okay, I'm still a thirst symbol. Okay.
I don't even think he knows what that phrase is. To be honest with you.
Well, anyway, Veronica, the always lovely Veronica Dang. It's been such fun chatting with you today. But where can people find you on social media if they want to chat with you even more?
Follow me at Veronica Dang on the socials.
Wonderful. Miss Emmy Morgan, what about you?
Well, you just said it. It's MS Emmy Morgan. I'm TikTok famous.
Allegedly.
And you can also, if you want, I mean, up to you if you want to like buy my books. So up to
You got Cash App?
I do actually.
She's like, hold on now.
Hey, you got books, you gotta post that.
Okay, cool. Yeah, Miss Emmy Morgan on all platforms.
Even Cash App.
No, Cash App's different.
Okay. Anyway, Joe, what are you?
Are you?
I will tell you what he
What are
is.
you?
I consider myself a social misfit. No, you can find me on Instagram at Dubs with a Z 413, and I am also on Twitter. I just recently discovered my Twitter account, so I might as well start making some crazy comments on there. And you can find me on Twitter at Jeter5197.
As a Yankees fan, I'm offended by that.
We should actually change those to the same thing from going forward, just so that.
The mess.
Maybe.
Well, you can find me at KCS Hutch, just on the Twitter. If you want to send me a Facebook friend request, that's fine. Instagram, don't even try it. You'll get denied it. I don't know how to work Instagram. I don't even have the app on my phone. If I want to look at something on Instagram, I'm just going to type in instagram.com into my Google Chrome.
He's the youngest out of all of us.
I know.
He's 20.
But he's like the soul of an 80-year-old.
Early 20s, and he calls it the Twitter. Okay.
And so anyway, you can also find our little messy show here at JLJ this morning. You'll find us right there. Come discuss, even more trending topics with us off the show. Go follow the co-hosts, discuss with them. And everybody, have a great day. Thank you so much for joining us. And we will see all of you lovely people next week.
Bye.
I'll try not to swear next time.